Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Hello, welcome to the show. Well, geez, we said that we wanted an interesting way for them to go into the break. No matter the result of that game, that was going to be that was a super fun one to watch. But the Avs do come out on top 5-4 in Edmonton. Marty Necas with the game winner. Megan, like I said, that was fun.
Fun is a word that could describe parts of this hockey game. And making it a little more difficult than you needed to is a phrase that also might be used to talk about this hockey game. Yeah. But I want to give them credit because fun probably is the most appropriate word. You know, in preparation for Four Nations with this Best on Best tournament coming up, you got to see a little bit of what Best on Best looks like with some of the top talent in the league going head to head, exchanging blows back and forth, and keeping in mind the Avs are on the second leg of a back-to-back in all of this. Yep. It does make it a little bit more impressive. So I know it was a little scary at points, and maybe you don't feel great about that if you're Meghan Angley and you have anxiety. But I'm really proud with the overall effort.
I mean, you and I talked about effort today in the sense of that's what it felt like what was missing so much from the start of last night's game, especially knowing the importance of, again, not just wanting to go into the break on a positive note, but how much you need the points. And I felt like they played with that urgency tonight. This reminded me a little bit of the game from, what was that, a week ago? I don't know, against the Blues. Except this is a much better team than the Blues. So I'm with you. Like, there were definitely some things that you didn't like habits-wise, defensively. But let me put it this way. If you're a third party watching this game, that's a really fun game to watch.
It's certainly true. And I think you have to be happy with where the stars are on the team right now heading into the break. There are definitely still lingering concerns about those depth contributions that we didn't fully get to see tonight. And Mackenzie Blackwood, credit to him, playing back-to-back games as a goaltender is no easy feat. Against the Edmonton Oilers, no less, a team with a highly touted, top-rated power play in the league, and there were a lot of penalties in this game. And so Mackenzie Blackwood looked a little human at times. But going back to that top line and just the excitement around how good of a fit Necas has been and the new life that it seems to have injected into Nathan MacKinnon, like separately but also together what they're doing. But again, separately, Nathan MacKinnon, an impressive player always, just seems to have this second wind.
Well, so ever since he was drafted, I want to go back to the depth scoring thing here in a second. But back to like when he was drafted, I remember such a big part of what people talked about with him was that he was such a gamer, that when the stakes were higher, he elevated. We've seen that consistently throughout the playoffs in past years with Nathan MacKinnon. But this to me was a game where Jared Bednar challenged this team to elevate their game to a playoff level going into the break. And I felt like this was another instance where they absolutely responded with Nathan MacKinnon leading the way. Look, people talk about, there's a lot of people that talk about leadership with the Avs right now. And, you know, oh, they need to name another captain, things like that. Jared Bednar specifically called out Nathan MacKinnon's leadership since the trade, saying not that he's not a great leader all the time, but he's really elevated the way that he's leading this group. And he's a lead by example type of person. And I thought he did that again tonight. To your point, not the traditional depth scoring that you normally talk about, but you can't talk about this game without calling out Parker Kelly, the effort he makes on the shorthanded goal. To me, you know, you and I were kind of joking last night. Who was it? It was a depth guy that set up Cale Makar in the slot and the puck just missed. And we were like, I would have counted that as some depth scoring. I think about that tonight. Parker Kelly, that's definitely some depth contribution, especially coming shorthanded there.
It's certainly huge. And I think that in looking at the fourth line, we talked about it a little bit earlier today, they're still continuing to do things well when it comes to winning battles, playing with heart. And I think Parker Kelly exemplifies that. He may need, he might not be able to contribute 5v5 scoring at every chance, but he's aggressive on the PK and it served them extremely well. It's opportunistic. It capitalizes on a mistake that Edmonton should not be making. And I'm grateful for Parker Kelly being there. I don't know if this was something you were going to talk about, but I know Casey Middlestat ends up on the fourth line for a little bit during this game. And I actually think it's more to do with trying to get that fourth line going. The puck touches just have not been there for them. And Casey Middlestat, 83% at the dot tonight. His line also not necessarily going tonight, but I don't view this as a demotion of Middlestat and more so trying to help this fourth line to rediscover some of what has served them well offensively that's been missing from their game a little bit. And I don't blame a player like Parker Kelly for what's been absent there. I just think, it's like a stew that needs to be restirred and maybe a different ingredient in there.
The Casey Middlestat thing, to me, this is one of those games where, we usually hear Jared Bednar say, when we ask about, why you're shifting up lines, said, I play the guys who were going. Again, I saw a couple plays from Casey Middlestat early on, where he's really deceptive and he holds the puck. He's got great patience. He's got great vision, but it just felt like he was moving a step slower than the rest of his team tonight. And so that's why it took me a while to even notice that Casey Middlestat wasn't taking those reps anymore. Because like I said, he just felt like he was moving a step slow. Sorry, go ahead.
It was only briefly. I feel like I almost want to get in front of people over valuing what Middlestat on the fourth line meant. And I don't think this was a bad Casey Middlestat game. And I also think if you look at possession numbers of the fourth line now through a couple games, they've actually been pretty bad. This is a line that I will get behind me, fourth line. I'm defending you here. They're still a very good line, but the possession numbers have not favored them lately, 5v5. They're not only not getting the puck touches, but because they're not getting them, any scoring chances against are counting against them. And so I think that Jared Bednar is just trying to inject a little bit of life into that line. Because the second line wasn't really going, you weren't really breaking something that was working extremely well either. I think that second line as a whole also wasn't getting very many puck touches, Parsonen included.
No, I agree with you 100%. I definitely see it. Again, go read Megan's piece, GorillaSports.net, talking about Jared Bednar and his unique blend of coaching style. But this is what we talked about this afternoon on the pod. Is his ability to have a pulse on how to mix up these lines, how to pair guys together to get more out of them. You and I have talked several times throughout the year that maybe some of Casey Middlestat's best minutes come with guys like Logan O'Connor, Kivi Ranta, Parker Kelly, things like that. Let's go back. I do want to talk about not just tonight, but also last night. The top guys really carried the team and again, answered the bell. And when we talk about playoff runs, your top players really have to push things forward. Then you need the depth guys to fill in over the course of a series. Yeah, you maybe didn't get a ton of depth contributions the last two nights, but I want to talk specifically about Cale Makar, then Nathan MacKinnon, 3 points again tonight for Makar. And it just seemed like these two guys in particular elevated again tonight to help get this team where they need to be going into the break.
That's where you can feel a lot of confidence about where the team is at. Outside of the top line and the top pairing, it is a little bit hard that more players didn't find a way to make a difference in this game. You look at Edmonton's side of it and Corey Perry finds a way to make a difference in this game. It's not someone who's making a difference quite like that on a nightly basis. And I think that's what you want to see these types of games bring out in all of the players, but certainly the stars. And Nathan MacKinnon capitalizing on the power play to open the scoring is a huge part of that. This is a power play on the heels of a terrible January that has seemed to show signs of life again. And the way to continue to improve the power play is to continue scoring on it. I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it's important for their confidence to continue building in that way. And it was, McKinnon opting to shoot beats at the time Skinner 5-hole. And that's great to see that, McKinnon, a player who's maybe criticized sometimes for holding on to the puck a hair too long or overpassing, shoots the puck and it rewards him.
Well, and to your point about scoring more help fixes the power play, it reinforces good habits. Again, we've talked a few times over the last couple of weeks that adding Marty Netjes, who we will get to that power play unit has forced them to move around more, because suddenly all three of your shooters out high, McKinnon, Makar, and Netjes, are all right-handed shots. So it's forcing them all to move, interchange. So to your point, when you're getting rewarded for that, it reinforces those good habits and helps you to break out of what we were seeing for the entire month of January, where it was just guys standing around loaded up for one-timers all over the ice and not making defenders work for it. Nathan McKinnon, again, it's in the same way that Jared Bednar doesn't get sick of talking about it, but you run out of things to say. Just another special night for him. And I would love to know, like, his true thoughts, Marty Netjes, on just how much fun he's having right now playing next to Nathan McKinnon, especially with the way that Nate is playing right now.
I have to imagine too, like, not only the success on the power play lately, but I think it translates directly to the 5v5 scoring, especially since this is kind of a similar unit of 5 that's often on the ice together. And that's what I think we're seeing, like, even with the Netjes goal on the game winner, the way in which Nathan McKinnon recognizes just the slight pause in collecting his own rebound to wait for Netjes, because it's baiting players to draw their attention more so to McKinnon, to include Pickard. And obviously it unfolds so quickly, and it's a 2-on-1 situation to start. So it was set up to be pretty dangerous. And I love that it starts with Netjes picking off the play in their own end to get that transition up ice. There's just so much about what they're doing together specifically that I like. And I do have to imagine, we've talked about this a little, so it sounds repetitive, but the opportunity that Netjes is getting on a nightly basis with the minutes that he's getting, obviously the talent of McKinnon is going to be amazing, but I just think it has opened up his game in so many ways to have that kind of opportunity, just with the way that Colorado likes to play. And I think that's why, an individual play, like picking off the pass from Edmonton in their own end, or Colorado's end, with Netjes, is individually something that he does so well because of the excitement of the opportunity in Colorado.
Well, and to your point, the way that these two players are playing off of one another, it does just seem like they like, it almost feels like Netjes has gotten here and it's like, whoa, this guy plays the way that I want to play. Ooh, I've never played anyone like this that also just wants to go fast. People hear us talk about the fact that Nathan McKinnon plays fast, and they're showing the bursts of 22 miles an hour or more. And I don't know what the current number is, but going into this season, the gap between Nathan McKinnon and the next closest player, which was Connor McDavid, was over 100. Nathan McKinnon just plays the game in a different gear than the rest of the NHL at a constant pace. And I think Marty Netjes is having a lot of fun because he can also play fast, and he likes to play quick and, move the puck north. And like you said, get going through the neutral zone and transitioning quickly from defense to offense. And I think we're seeing a lot of chemistry be generated here that maybe we undersold, especially in that first, 24, 48 hours of the trade, where so much of the conversation was around Mikko Rantanen. There, it feels like we're definitely learning that maybe we did not stop and appreciate enough what it is that Marty Netjes could be bringing beyond just what he's done to this point.
When I look at Jared Bednar and the team projects that he's digging into and their ozone play, one of the things he just mentioned was creating more off the rush. And that's one analytic piece of information that I don't have a great stat for, but I do imagine that this is usually where the Avs thrive as a team, is being able to generate chances off the rush and in transition because of their speed. And I also can't help but feel like it has felt prior to Netjes like something really only Nathan McKinnon is doing well this year. And that might be very dramatic. but I do think having Netchus has just opened up the ice for them to move north because of that speed that so few can keep up with, and it makes the whole of the Avs a threat again.
We talked about the depth. We mentioned Mackenzie Blackwood. I'm with you. There were definitely some of those goals that a couple of them that maybe he wants back. But it was, again, another situation where I thought he made the big saves in the moments where they needed it, including that save late when he was starting to get a little bit scrambly in your own end. Edmonton was really generating a lot of momentum, a lot of puck retrievals, pucks back on net. He's able to swallow one up, get a stoppage, and Edmonton's forced to take the timeout. I thought this was just another instance of, as the game went on, even though he wasn't perfect, Mackenzie Blackwood helped manage the game there in the last handful of minutes to help keep the team in a situation where they were able to have fresh bodies on the ice, clear message on what they wanted to do, and hey, they won some faceoffs.
Yeah, they won some faceoffs because when you look at some of the goals against, like a Leon Draisaitl power play goal, one-timer from the slot, 6 seconds into the power play right off the draw, one that they didn't win, you feel a little bit of sympathy then for Blackwood in that situation. And even then, the second Draisaitl goal in the second period, I just give full credit to the player that Draisaitl is for that goal. I'm just in awe, actually. And so I look at the night for Mackenzie Blackwood, and there's some plays too, or I think there's some defensive errors where the team just needed to support him a little bit better. And then there's certainly a couple that I think he wants back. But to your point, he shuts it down in the third period against an Edmonton team who has fresh legs. They've won their last 2. They're atop the Pacific, and they're pushing hard because they just overcame a 4-2 deficit. So they're energized right now. The Avs, they're probably running a little bit on empty. So Mackenzie Blackwood stepping up in the third period, that's timely and that's important.
Right. It's not just the fact that he's able to keep it at 4 or less, but like you're calling out, it's when he was able to elevate his game. And what you and I have talked about, I remember Semyon Varlamov being so good about during his time here in Colorado, and maybe just something that was, not to be going back to the, talking about the old regime, but the Georgiev Ananen duo, it's not that they didn't have good moments, not they weren't making saves in those games, but it was like, all right here is where you need a big one. And they just couldn't come up with it. That's what it feels like Mackenzie Blackwood is doing. Nathan MacKinnon, a couple just fantastic plays again from him all night. But I want to talk about the goal scorer who's the recipient of a great Nathan MacKinnon play, the backhand saucer pass to Artturi Lehkonen. Beautiful pass. Artturi Lehkonen, are we not talking about him enough as a goal scorer here?
Yeah, new career high for Artturi Lehkonen, 23 goals on this season. And he missed time. He missed pretty significant time at the start of the season. And another player, when we talk about an Nichushkin or a Duren, I feel like there have maybe been parts of Lehkonen's game since he returned that didn't immediately jump off the page at you. So to your point, we weren't talking about him enough because now consistently, you even go back to the bad homestand for Colorado, this is a player that's been showing up on the score sheet consistently. And it's so much of what he has always done well in being the kind of player who drives to the net front and puts himself in the right position. And he has to be a little bit Weasley to remain there because teams know that. They're trying to push him out of the way. And he's got a great net front presence in the absence of a Nichushkin, who is also that player. And they miss it, and it rewards Lehkonen going to the net, right place, right time. In this case, too, he receives that pass from the slot. And so that's just a great wrister from Lehkonen. I want to give him some credit too for how he picks his spot there.
Well, he's able to get off a one-timer in tight, to your point, on a puck that lands perfectly for him. He's got to time that right as well. We know that he's scored some very clutch goals for the Avs in his time here, but it feels like this season, not only is he coming up at the right time, but suddenly he's just kind of filling the net regularly. Like you said, new career high for him, moves solidly into the top 20 in the NHL for goal scoring, sitting at 18th right now. And then on top of that, everything that you're talking about, what all he does away from the puck that makes him so valuable, blocking shots there in the last minute. Again, maybe one of the more underrated guys that we don't talk about. I mean, we talk about him a good amount, so that we don't give credit to Arturi Lehkonen, but especially from a production standpoint, he seems to be taking a step forward this year. Megan, what other thoughts do you have tonight before you and I kind of tie things off, talking about going into the break, but whatever else you have for tonight, I want to make sure we get that all in.
Yeah, I wanted to also credit Devon Taves with the outlet pass. I think he was good at breaking out the puck tonight, moving the puck north to help the Avs in that transition play. That is one of their strengths. And that, I also think, is where they avoid more defensive breakdowns, because sometimes I think in what they're looking to do to transition play up ice leads to a turned over puck and a soft blue line that allows entry for the opposition. And Taves breaking out the puck like that, it wasn't, the first time. That one's the outlet pass to set this whole play up. I think just generally how the back end helped tonight. Obviously, Cale Makar, maybe I'm cheating. The top pair is probably the better way to talk about it, because I look at the Makar goal, and that starts with another great breakout from Taves. So I think he just deserved a little bit of a shout out.
Not only do I agree with you, they deserve a shout out. The production maybe there wasn't a large point total for, your depth guys, but I thought this was a no passengers type of night, or everyone, I didn't really have a huge issue with anyone's games. There were small mistakes here and there. Like you said, small defensive breakdowns, but I thought the effort was there for everyone. I thought everyone was well-intentioned in what they were doing. I thought they were making the right plays for the most part. That was just a game that's easy to get kind of sucked into that north-south, up and down, kind of racing style of hockey. And the Avs are comfortable playing that. That they're one of the few teams that when Edmonton wants to do that, yeah, you're going to give up goals, but the Avs are going to be able to generate as well. And I thought you at least had 100% engagement. You know what I mean? Nobody that really I felt like was hurting you. And then the last thing that I want to call out is the penalty kill. You're going up against one of the top units in the NHL. And I thought they had a good night again. And there were several opportunities that the Oilers had, especially early, where not only did they not score, but the Avs were able to kind of squash any kind of momentum that they could have generated. Again, not perfect on the night, but I thought, like Blackwood, came up at the right moments.
I have three things, and I'm going to try to use the sandwich method here.
I love it.
I already forgot how the sandwich method works, but I wanted to talk about the bottom pairing.
Okay.
I'm going to say a bad thing first, and then I'm going to say two good things for the Avs generally. I didn't love the bottom pairing tonight. I think that too much of the stay-at-home defenseman that maybe doesn't move, not just the puck, but themselves as well, harm them a little bit tonight. I don't think that is a very good pairing to move forward with. I also didn't love the way that they played the Corey Perry goal in the first period, but I did love Middleton sticking up for his teammates after Darnell Nurse's weird hit. Didn't like the play. Yeah. And so I loved seeing Middleton step up for him. So that's where I'm trying to sandwich it a little bit too. And then the other thing is the Avs not capitalizing on the 5-on-3. I just wanted to talk about how aggressive Edmonton was on the PK tonight and why that makes capitalizing on the power play for McKinnon earlier in the game kind of significant. And so obviously I would love to see them capitalize on that 5-on-3. It would have been very helpful for them, but Netcha still gets a goal at the end of this game. All is well. And I just wanted to shout out Edmonton's PK, not normally like the strength of that team, really made things hard for the Avs tonight.
I remember watching them in the Stanley Cup final when they were on that crazy, ridiculous streak of not giving up a power play goal. And I just could not believe how aggressive they were on the PK. Pretty wild. We said this afternoon that the Avs really wanted to, you wanted to get the result, no doubt about it, but you wanted to have a good game and have a night that you could really feel good about going into the break and saying, yeah, we're fine sitting with that one for the next 2 weeks. I absolutely think you got that tonight. Given everything you and I talked about on the show today, which if you couldn't watch it live, you haven't heard it yet, it is on our YouTube channel, available anywhere you also get your podcast. Anything that you feel from this afternoon changed based on the performance they have here tonight, I think maybe you're back to feeling pretty good about where they're at heading into this 2-week break.
Yeah, they need it though. Like I'm looking at lines 2 through 4 kind of critically, and looking at the rest of the pairings outside of the top pair a little critically too. Not with like crazy concern. I still feel so good about where this team is at, but I need to see a little bit more from the rest of the lineup outside of the stars coming out of the break.
And I guess those are the exact guys that are going to get the break. There's your silver lining, is the exact guys that you just said are going to be the ones who are going to get the break, get a couple weeks off here to rest, reset. And we talked earlier about this team needing to be able to build on previous wins and string some games together, have some consistency in what they're doing. We've seen now the last 5 games, they've been able to keep it at a good level. I really like the effort from last night carrying over into tonight. That intensity that you need to see. And I the longer they string this together, where I'm going with this, the longer they string this together, the more and more I am going to feel like, hey, these are some galvanizing moments that we're seeing unfolding right here with Marty Netchus fitting into the group, having these kind of big breakout moments that we've seen now in these last 2 games. You're now heading into the break on a 3-point Marty Netchus night and an inside 2 minutes left against the Edmonton Oilers Marty Netchus game winner from Nathan MacKinnon. So you're heading into the break really feeling good about where you're at. And again, the more you can build in this coming out of the break, the more and more you are looking at moments that are going to shape the end of the season here.
Absolutely. Also, Cale Makar, 1 point away from 400 on the career. I thought he might get to it tonight. He needed 4 to do it. He had a 3-point night. Thought that was a little bit insane. Just really excited about what this top of the lineup is doing. It is quite impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Megan, any final thoughts on tonight? Anything we didn't get to? Any thoughts about Four Nations? We'll be back at it on Monday. We'll be talking Four Nations, all that stuff. We're not going away for 3 weeks, but just anything else before we sign off here on this Friday night?
No.
Nothing. I'm with you. Oof. What a week. What a game here tonight. Fun one to watch again when you're able to step back and just kind of enjoy the sport. That was a really fun game to watch. Megan is correct. When you look at it, when you're looking at it critically, a lot of things that the Avs can clean up. But at the end of the night, we said they needed to go at least 2-1 on this road trip heading into the break. That's exactly what they did. After a disappointing start, they bounced back with 2 great games on a back-to-back night against the Calgary Flames, a team that's chasing him, and the Edmonton Oilers, one of the league's best teams since November. That's going to do it. Megan will be up at Eagles tomorrow, bringing you guys some great coverage of the Avs American Hockey League team. They are not going anywhere. They won't be on break. So Megan will be up there, and then we'll be back with everything for you on Monday. Guerilla Sports will have some great Super Bowl coverage coming your guys' way from New Orleans on Sunday as well. But everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy your Friday night, and we'll talk to you later. Avs win 5-4 in Edmonton into the Four Nations break.
We have.
Oh.
Are we still live?
Wait a minute. I caught it at the last second. We're back. We're back.
Psych.
Hurricane Teabag 199. Yes. I'm sorry. Caught up in the excitement of the end of the Avalanche game. Cal Ritchie hat trick for the Oshawa Generals tonight. I haven't been able to catch any of it. Megan, have you seen any of it?
No, when I saw that the hat trick had come through, it was just like the Jens tweet with the goal graphic, but not the actual goal itself yet. So I need to do a little research, but love to revisit Cal Ritchie, a centerman of the future for the Colorado Avalanche, perhaps as near future as next season. So excited to see him tearing it up right now.
Topic for Monday.
We'll go watch the goals.
There we go. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. For real. Have a good night.